Good day and good night. Welcome back to the High and Low Retrospective, a place where we rewind the reels and rewatch the moments that changed TV, shaped culture, and occasionally left us with more questions than answers. Today, we're heading back to the mid-'80s, to a time when primetime television got a major cultural reset, a time when a single sitcom redefined what it meant to be black, successful, and American on the small screen. Let's talk about The Cosby Show and the collapse of the cultural hero who built it. By 1984, television had a race problem. Black sitcoms existed, but they were rare and often came with caveats. Black characters were typically sidelined, reduced to caricatures, or trapped in narratives of struggle. Shows like Different Strokes and Good Times made strides by centering black families, but they often teetered between heartwarming and harmful, constrained by tropes that limited the full scope of black life on screen. Prosperity, stability, and general success, well, those weren't part of the primetime formula. The American TV family was still overwhelmingly white, middle class, and suburban. Then came a show set in a Brooklyn brownstone where a black doctor and lawyer raised 5 kids in a home filled with discipline, affection, and jazz records. No stereotypes, no punchlines that traded dignity for laughs, just love, learning, and cultural pride. The Cosby Show wasn't just another sitcom, it was a cultural reset. It didn't just reflect a different kind of black family, it reimagined what representation could look like. For NBC, it was a risky bet. For Bill Cosby, it was a mission to change how America saw black life, one episode at a time.
You live in New Jersey, you've got to have a car.
I ride a motorbike.
The Cosby Show debuted on NBC on September 20th, 1984, introducing the Huxtables, a successful black family living in a Brooklyn brownstone. As I mentioned earlier, they had Cliff, played by Bill Cosby. He was an obstetrician, and Claire, played by Phylicia Rashad, a sharp, accomplished attorney. Their 5 children, Rudy, Vanessa, Theo, Denise, and Sandra, each brought distinct personalities and perspectives, but the show was never just about affluence. It was about the richness of black life portrayed with dignity, humor, and heart. It tackled parenting, education, sibling tension, cultural pride, and above all, the importance of music, especially jazz, as both backdrop and narrative thread. Episodes flowed smoothly from laughs to life lessons, whether it was Theo grappling with dyslexia or Rudy stealing a scene. Every story revolved around the steady, compassionate leadership of Cliff and Claire. They weren't flawless, but they were aspirational, and they left a lasting imprint on audiences across race, class, and generation. Bill Cosby wasn't new to television. He was already a comedy legend and a trailblazer, the first black actor to lead a network drama in I Spy and a regular on variety shows. But The Cosby Show was different. It was personal. By the early 80s, Cosby was an entertainment heavyweight with a mission to reshape how America viewed black families. He pitched a show about a professional black household, one that reflected success with nuance and dignity. NBC, then struggling, cautiously agreed. Cosby developed the show alongside Ed Weinberger and Michael Leeson. Producers Marcy Carsey and Tom Werner backed the vision, launching what would become their flagship series. Drawing from Cosby's own life, his admiration for HBCUs, jazz, and Afrocentric excellence, the show leaned into representation with care. A diverse writer's room helped balance humor with purpose. The cast brought that vision to life. Phylicia Rashad, who played Claire, well, she balanced elegance and strength, redefining the TV matriarch. Malcolm Jamal-Warner as Theo, Lisa Bonet as Denise, Tempestt Bledsoe as Vanessa, Keshia Knight Pulliam as Rudy, and Sabrina LaBeouf as Sandra infused their roles with authenticity, avoiding sitcom stereotypes and reflecting a wide spectrum of black youth and family dynamics. And then there were the guest stars, icons like Stevie Wonder, Lena Horne, and jazz greats who elevated the show from weekly entertainment to cultural institution. Their appearances weren't just cameos, they were statements, each one a tribute to black brilliance, history, and pride. By its second season, The Cosby Show was the #1 show on television. For 5 straight years, It topped Nielsen ratings, helping revive NBC and reshaping what network execs thought a mainstream show could look like. It inspired a wave of black-led sitcoms: A Different World, Family Matters, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Living Single. It all followed in its wake. Colleges saw a rise in black student applications, especially to HBCUs. It wasn't just a show, it was a movement. But like all stories worth telling, this one had a second act. Can a show built on black excellence survive the fall of its central figure? That's the question. In recent years, the legacy of The Cosby Show has been challenged, if not obliterated, by the real-life revelations and criminal convictions of its star, Bill Cosby. Over 60 women accused him of sexual misconduct. It became a symbol not of paternal wisdom, but of betrayal. This wasn't just a celebrity scandal, it was a cultural rupture. The man who had become a fixture in living rooms across America, who had symbolized the very best of fatherhood, education, and empowerment, was now a pariah. And because The Cosby Show was so deeply rooted in his persona, its legacy became collateral damage. And so we're left with the question, how do you hold on to the good in something that's now stained by darkness? Can you separate the art from the artist? Can a once revolutionary show maintain its significance even as its foundation crumbles? And this is what we call complicated nostalgia. It's not new. History is full of artists whose legacies are fraught. Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, J.K. Rowling, Kanye West, Michael Jackson. Their work still circulates, their influence still ripples, but our relationship to their art has changed, sometimes forever. With The Cosby Show, the dilemma hits harder because Cosby didn't just star in the show, he was the show, the father figure, the moral compass, the architect of every lesson. His image was baked into the value of the product. Viewers didn't just watch Cliff Huxtable, they trusted him, and that trust extended beyond the screen to commercials, public speaking, and philanthropic endeavors. Cosby was sold as an avatar of excellence. So when the image collapses, what remains? What happens when the character you grew up admiring becomes inseparable from the man accused of monstrous behavior? Do we erase the cultural contribution altogether, or do we confront it, complicate it, and try to make sense of what it meant and still means? Can we still watch Cliff Huxtable with warmth, or does every laugh now come with a footnote? This is the heavy lift of complicated nostalgia, holding admiration and disillusionment in the same breath. It's a reckoning that forces us to ask not just about Cosby, but all the figures we elevate and what we risk when we build monuments out of human beings. To separate art from artist is to ask, can a piece of work exist independently of its creator's sins? Some say yes, that art takes on its own life once it enters the public space. Others argue that to support the work is to uphold the person, especially when the person profited from that support. What complicates The Cosby Show even more is how much good it once did. It changed the landscape for black actors. It uplifted HBCUs. It challenged stereotypes. It opened minds. It created space on network television for complex, aspirational black families at a time when caricature and trauma were the norm. It made people dream bigger. It made them feel seen. And yet, the man behind it all became the very thing he once stood against. The betrayal isn't just personal, it's cultural. Because when a work is that groundbreaking, its legacy becomes collective. So when it cracks, the fracture reverberates. Viewers don't just lose a favorite show, they lose trust, a piece of memory, and sometimes a piece of themselves. Reconciling that loss isn't easy. It demands nuance, discomfort, and reflection, but maybe that's the real work of legacy. Not blind celebration, not total erasure, but the hard, necessary middle. Cosby Show remains a cultural artifact. It holds a mirror to a time when representation equaled revolution, but now it also holds a cautionary tale that no single person should ever be elevated beyond scrutiny. Its reruns may have faded, its creator may have fallen, but the conversations it sparked about family, race, respectability, and now accountability are more relevant than ever. So that's the High and Low Retrospective on The Cosby Show, a sitcom that redefined black family life, a star who became a cultural father, and a legacy that now lives in the uneasy space between pride and pain. Maybe we don't have to choose between honoring what the show meant and acknowledging what its creator did. Maybe holding both truths at once is the only way forward. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe for more deep dives into the shows and the moments that made us and sometimes broke our hearts. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get these videos when they come out. Until next time, stay critical, stay nostalgic, and remember,
maybe you can just accept who I am and love me anyway.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.